We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet. Boy, and right now, I think we're live now.
Are we
I
live now?
I always start too soon, or I don't know. I don't know what to say about myself. But as you can see now, we are in night mode here at Starfleet Boy headquarters.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's the setting. This particular setting is called the TARDIS, and I think it's very appropriate. So just like we did last season, after we finished watching and discussing having our casual and informal discussion about Star Trek: The Next Generation season 1, we did a recap episode, and so now we're gonna do the same thing for TNG season 2. So thank you for being here with me, Doctor, even though I don't know what you're crunching away at over there on your
I'm
side.
getting the cast ready.
Oh, okay. Don't forget the 2 new additions to the cast.
I never bought a Pulaski figure, unfortunately.
Oh no, but you do have Guinan.
I do.
Oh, good. Okay.
And she is here. She will be here momentarily.
That's excellent. Well, okay, so I guess we'll just start off by saying season 2 was a fun ride, I thought. I was surprised that there were a lot of episodes in season 2 that I had forgotten about since my initial watching and subsequent watchings on DVD, etc. And I don't know what I think of this season overall. I guess we'll uncover those feelings as we talk about it. But what are your thoughts on season 2?
Well,
Now, before we go into it, sorry, you weren't on every discussion of Starfleet Boy for season 2, but I understand you've watched at least or know every episode that we've seen this season, right?
fairly certain of that. Yeah.
All right, we'll discover as we go, break down each episode. But go on.
Right. But I mean, my thoughts. I mean, what I like to discuss with these season overviews is just sort of the overall character arcs and just changes that were introduced, and of course being the second season, this is the first season where we saw any major well, we did lose Tasha, but this is the first major introduction of new characters to the show, and so certainly season 2 is notable for that, because we saw the introduction of a new doctor with
It sounds funny to say that on a Star Trek show.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Deanna Muldaur joined as Dr. Catherine Pulaski, and then we of course had Whoopi Goldberg as the enigmatic Guinan. And you made an interesting observation in the discussion of the last episode, which is the season, the rather crappy season finale, where you said that Pulaski may have inherited lines from McCoy, and it's plainly obvious that Pulaski is a female version of Dr. McCoy. And I know at the time that was the main criticism of Pulaski, but I really feel that the actress Muldaur was able to go beyond the general character brief, which is a female McCoy. I think she managed to forge interesting relationships with several of the cast, and I think she was able to rise above just she's just a female Bones. Although when they did show her to be that, it was kind of sad. Yeah, it was cliche. I mean, the whole transporter room phobia. I mean, that's just really, it's kind of silly. And in a way, it's surprising because I would have thought that this show, especially in its second season, would not have wanted to invite comparisons to the original show. I mean, they should have been wanting to carve out their own identity rather than invite comparisons. And then the other new character, of course, is Guinan, and I think she made a really big impression in the Borg episode. But beyond that, I think it just she really didn't make much of an impact on the show overall. Of course, that's because of the I mean, she was a major movie actress at the time, Whoopi Goldberg.
She was in 6 episodes though. Excuse me, out of 20, what is it? 23 this season?
But very brief scenes.
Yeah, it's true.
And
22 episodes.
Right. I mean, she's just kind of sprinkled around. Really. I mean, really. The only episode that really, there are only 2 episodes that stand out with her in it. One is the Borg episode where she was fabulous in it, and I think kind of it really showed the potential for the Guinan character. And then, I forget what episode it is, but it's the one where Wesley falls in love with a girl, and Riker is flirting with Guinan in 10 Forward, and and that episode is just, I mean, that scene is comedy gold with Guinan and Riker. But other than that, of the two new characters, I have to say that Pulaski is the one that made the most impact on me, rather than Guinan.
Excellent. Well, I would say that I agree with you. Just to reiterate something I've been saying, and I think Dinah Muldaur deserves to be praised, over and over again. First time around when the show actually aired, I wasn't a big fan. I was so upset about Dr. Pulaski. I just wasn't having it. And then it wasn't until the DVD release that I actually gave season 2 a proper watch, and it was the first time where I was like, you know what, Dr. Pulaski is not so bad. I accept her as canon. And
wow.
yeah, I do.
She may not have been canon. Oh my
yeah,
God.
I was willing to expunge her from my personal headcanon of Star Trek.
God.
And that's how bad that's how prejudiced, if you will, I was against this character that was stealing the spot of my beloved Dr. Crusher. And now that like time has passed and I've seen the episode, and now that we've rewatched it, Dinah Muldaur is a phenom. She's such a great actress, and she really did an extraordinary job as Dr. Pulaski. And I like Dr. Pulaski now, and it's because of her. And she starts out, actually, it's a funny, ironic kind of parallel, because she herself starts off with these very like kind of judgmental ideas about like Data and even just the rest of the crew, and she's kind of like an outsider in a way, and she really by the end I think holds her own, and well into the season you start to accept her, and I think that at the end it's kind of sad that she's not going to really ever come back again. But that being said, Dinah Muldaur was in Star Trek before, as we know in the original series, and I think she's still around.
I believe so. Yes.
So who knows? There's a possibility she might be able to come back for Star Trek Discovery. One thing I didn't realize as we were rewatching the episode, and a testament to this reoccurring actor, Susie Plaxton, who plays K'Ehleyr, Worf's.
Right.
She was also Dr. Solar.
Right, in the episode where that guy takes over Data, his grandfather.
Oh yeah, exactly. And Dr. Solar does come back again and again, so I think that's pretty cool. I didn't realize.
She does?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Solar comes back in subsequent seasons. I'm not 100% sure, but I have memories of her beyond
really.
that episode. Yeah. Let's find out. Let's do,
because I obviously her Klingon. I mean, Worf's Alexander's mother comes back. I forget what her name is. but I didn't know that she came back as a Vulcan, Susie Plaxton.
I'm pretty sure. Let's look up Dr. Solar here. Let's see here. And according to Memory Alpha, we
Okay.
see her in, let's see here. I wonder if it posts how many episodes she's been in. I guess we should just go to IMDb because I'm not finding it right away. IMDb.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if she was in another one.
So according to, oh, come on. Let's see here. I've got a Star Trek: The Next Generation. She was. Is there not an easy way to find out how many episodes, Doctor? How many episodes was Doctor?
Well, apparently she was on
Solar?
Star Trek Enterprise, which was interesting.
Susie
I didn't know
Plaxton.
that. Yeah, and she was on Voyager.
Mm.
She played a
I knew that
Q.
she was Q. Yeah. Well, I
You
discovered
knew
that.
that?
No, I didn't know it from memory. I just discovered it the other day in a
She only
discussion.
played Lieutenant Solar in one episode.
Oh wow, she's so memorable. I fabricated memories.
Wow, she is memorable.
So I guess I fabricated memories of Dr. Solar throughout Star Trek. I'm going to be so embarrassed when we find out who I was thinking of instead. So we're prepared
Well,
for.
you know what? This opens up this makes a great segue. Memorable guest stars whom we would have liked to have seen
Sonia
reappear.
Gomez.
What happened to her?
She was in 2 episodes and then
She was
she
in 2
disappeared.
episodes and then poof.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Give us
That's right.
what happened, man?
I don't know what happened
The
to Sonia Gomez.
extermination of the Hispanic race on Star Trek.
Oh no!
What is wrong with that? They're racists.
You missed the discussion for this episode, but Armin Shimmerman plays Damon Braktar in the Stratagema episode in Peak Performance, and he looks just like Quark, almost like a proto.
Yeah,
Quark.
I know.
Yeah,
He does. But yeah, I can do without him. I like him as Quark. But I would definitely love to have seen more of Gomez or Lieutenant
Dr.
Soleil,
Solar.
Dr. Solar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It seemed like in the episode, I mean, I don't know if it was just a case of that they knew they wanted that actress somehow. They just didn't know in what role, because it is kind of weird that in the same season you would have the same actor, you would have the actors playing 2 different roles. Because even with the makeup, you can clearly tell it's the same woman.
I was fooled by it.
Are you serious?
I personally was. I think the ridges changed.
What?
Yeah, I was totally fooled by it. Obviously, now I see it. Now that I've got my attention on it a little bit more, but at the time, I didn't put the 2 and 2. When I saw Kaylar, I didn't go, oh, it's the same actress who played Dr. Solar. And
you're crazy.
I am a little crazy. Interestingly enough, Gary from Trekker Prize conveyed to us a story at the Destination Star Trek in Birmingham, England, not Birmingham, Alabama. He said that Susie Plaxton was on stage during her discussion or her panel or whatever, and during her Q&A, I guess it was, a makeup artist was transforming her in real time into Kaylar.
Really?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow, I would have loved to have seen that.
I know, it sounds like an awesome thing to have witnessed. So Gary can tell us more about that next time you talk to him. But yeah, he was able to see that, and it sounds pretty cool. So since we had, I don't remember what we gave season 1 as an overall rating. But
Are we there already?
No, I'm just saying we're gonna go through each episode real quick. But I do feel like it's gonna be a tough one because We're gonna do episode by episode, and then I'm having a throat thing happening. I would have to drink.
You want to get a drink of water? Go get a drink of water, man.
Wow, that's crazy. We have wine after dark.
Oh,
That's Starfleet Boy, but that was a weird. It's like strange pollen from a plant that makes me euphoric. Just kind of flew into my mouth.
are you gonna start having flashbacks to previous episodes of Starfleet?
Oh, great segue, because yes, I am. Yes, I am. And let's start with the season opener, which should also be known as the Immaculate Conception.
Horrible episode. Horrible episode.
I don't remember if I liked it or not. But I do remember it wasn't the best season opener. And that's gonna be something about season 2. We didn't have a great opener and we didn't have a great closer, so
Right.
yeah.
It was a very I mean, I suppose you could say it was a strong Troy episode, I guess.
She was great. Marina Sirtis was great, performance-wise. I'll say that. She was
awesome. You know, I think I don't know. It didn't really do much for Troy as a character. I thought it was a surprising season opener, in the sense that, you know, it
was
just
weird.
It was weird. It was kind of slow, and I mean, it seemed to be. I think we did read that it was a script that was going to be used in Star Trek Phase 2. So,
and I remember us comparing it to season 1's opener, and you know how it is true. The one, you know, some of the good things about it is that we are discovering a new kind of life form in a sense, and you know, being exposed to a harder science fiction landscape than we would think.
Yeah, but it was crappy.
So then we go on to Where Silence Has Lease. Of course,
is that Nagilum?
That is Nagilum.
Nagilum. Why did Nagilum never come back?
He said he was going to.
I liked Nagilum. I think Nagilum. I'm still holding out hope that Nagilum will return one day.
Well, if he returns, it'll be a prequel to Nagilum in Star Trek Discovery, so we'll see.
I would rank Nagilum as not as high, but as a, you know, in season 1, you know, we never went back to those little bug creatures,
right?
And Nagilum, I think, was just one of those things that, you know, was never. Now, of course, we did learn that the reason for that is because it was supposed to have been Q,
right? And it makes sense. It makes
sense.
Yeah.
So, but still, the fact that do you hear that, by the way? Is that making a lot of noise?
No, it's fine. Whatever's happening.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
It's a bit it's a bit windy here. The winds of the temporal winds and the time vortex are snapping a bit out there. But you know, the fact that they just went ahead and created this cool character, I thought he was a cool character. I think it warranted at least another appearance, maybe on another Star Trek show. I mean, Voyager or Enterprise at least, or DS9. But Nagilum gets my vote for the villain or character that I would have liked to have come back that never did.
So we'll start a campaign, bring back Nagilum. Then we have Elementary Dear Data, and this is our first time with Data's sort of. Well, we got a little hint of the Sherlock Holmes in a season 1 episode, if I recall, but here we are, fully immersed in. Oh my goodness! Can you stop the crunching?
I'm bringing Data out, man.
What do you keep them inside of? Do you keep them inside
Ziplocs?
Ziplocs. Okay. Set your toys free. Don't keep them in Ziploc bags. Well, anyways, Elementary Dear Data is a fun episode. I remember really liking this episode. because of all the Sherlock Holmes stuff. Of course, we get introduced to Daniel Davis's Moriarty character, who will come back again in a
Who
future.
does return?
Yeah, he does
Yes.
return. And just like an interesting kind of exploration of what the ship's computer is capable of, and I think it's very relevant. I don't know if we talked about this during the actual discussion, but like just artificial intelligence and things like that. These are things that we're thinking a lot about in current times. So I thought this episode was a good like primer for those kinds of discussions. What comes next? The outrageous Okana. I remember liking this episode, but I don't remember if you liked it.
It's kind of I think it was a lost script from Buck Rogers.
That's right. We did say something like that.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
It was definitely a fun episode. Then we go to Loud as a Whisper, which is an iconic episode of TNG, and that's the episode with the ambassador who is deaf, played by Howie Sago. What was his name again? Riva of Ramatis.
Reba McEntire.
Right? It was Riva of Ramatis 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so it was an awesome episode. We don't really.
That was a good Troy episode.
It was also a very good Counselor Troy episode. Yep.
Right.
And then after that, you might as well set up Commander Data again, because we have the Schizoid Man. And we have, the actor who could have played Ernest Hemingway.
Papa Hemingway.
I think his name is W. Morgan Shepherd, according to Wikipedia here. And it's basically Ira Graves, a scientist who is able to transfer his essence, his soul, if you will, into the positronic mind of Commander Data, thus replacing our beloved Commander Data. And then we have the crew trying to get him back, basically. That was a good episode also.
It was okay. It was okay.
And of course, that's apparently the only time we see Lieutenant Solar, Dr. Solar, who I thought we see so many times.
You thought it was,
Probably because I recognize the actress subconsciously, and so that could be it. After that, we have Unnatural Selection, in which Dr. Pulaski grows old rapidly and has to, they come up with that clever transporter trick to save her. And I thought that was an okay episode. It was a good episode, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have A Matter of Honor, where Commander Riker serves aboard a Klingon ship. And that was one of your favorites, right?
No, I don't think it was one of my favorites. I think I ended up saying that it's kind of, the Klingons are kind of two-dimensional. They were still trying to figure out the Klingons at that point, and they were just kind of silly. They just, really, they just decided to take on the Enterprise, instead of just saying, hey guys, you have something on your hull that we have on our hull. Could there be something wrong? No, we're gonna destroy them. It's a Federation plot. Come on, guys. Really? No, it was see, if we were to go to the thumbs up, thumbs down, I would have given it a thumbs down. I don't hate it, but it would have been a thumbs down.
Interesting. Fascinating.
It's a 5. It's a 5.
A 5 it is.
It's in the middle.
I'm surprised because I thought, I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember maybe you were excited that it was going to be Klingons, and then it ended up not being quite what you thought it was. I do remember some of those concerns. Thinking back on it, you're absolutely right. Klingons don't really gain dimension till much later, and we're going into some exciting times for people who love Klingon storylines as we progress into the seasons of TNG. Next, after that, probably the cutest episode of Starfleet Boy. Not necessarily. Subspace communication. Was that Winston Churchill calling again?
I'll call him back.
Thank you, honored. Um, so the Dauphin was the cutest Starfleet boy episode. My one of my best friend's daughters, her name is Azure, was on the episode with me, and I don't know if you've seen that episode yet, but it's very cute, very short and sweet.
No.
A child's perspective on this episode.
No, I haven't seen this episode.
You'll have to go back and watch. I'll send you the
It's
link.
online?
It's online, of course.
Oh my
We're at
God.
the end of the season.
We're at the end of the season, of course. Well, I mean, because we record them so far in advance.
Oh, that's true. You're absolutely right.
I don't
Well, you have
know.
some catching up to do, Doctor. Anyway,
But this is the episode with the chick from Twin Peaks.
what's her name? Is it Jamie?
Madison. I can't pronounce her name.
Is it Jamie Hubbard? Are you talking? No.
It's the old lady who turns into the
Yes.
the thing from Where the Wild Things Are, and then
Well, yes, and she also. Yes, this is that episode exactly.
okay. Okay. Oh, this is the one where Guinan and Riker have that very witty exchange, right?
That is correct.
That was the highlight of the episode. The rest is crap.
You're probably right about that. Then we go on from that to the Royale, which was an interesting episode.
Oh.
And then from there we go to
That's Worf, Riker, and Data. I can't get them all three on the. Hold on, can I?
Yeah, you
Wait,
can.
here we go.
Why couldn't you do it?
Well, because this thing is round.
Oh, you stand them up on the mic?
Yeah, of course.
That explains all the sounds.
Yes. What else am I going to stand them on?
Very nice. Let's see that. You got to say something.
Okay, see, here they are. Let's recreate famous scenes from the Royale.
No, let's not.
Right,
we are going to
let's
move
not.
on to the next episode 13, which was Times Squared, and that was, of
that's
course,
a Data episode.
Mhm. Right. Well, it's not just Data. That is the one where. Oh yeah, you're right, but it's Picard centric too because it's the one where Captain Picard is he meets his future self in it.
Oh, it's the Picard
Remember?
one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's a time loop.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a Picard centric episode. I think you were thinking of
The one where Data is. It's the one I was thinking. Another one.
Yeah,
the
Dr.
Mannheim with Michelle
I feel like
Phillips.
this is going to happen to us more and more as we go.
Absolutely.
Because our memories are so horrible. So we're
Right.
gonna just like, oh boy.
Times Squared was I think one of the best episodes of the season.
It was a very cool episode with the whole timey-wimey, wibbly wobbly stuff going on. You're absolutely right about that. And then we go from there to the Icarus Factor. Another episode with Commander Riker. This was Commander Riker and his father. Yep, there's Commander Riker. Did they ever make a figure for his father?
No, I don't think so.
Kyle Riker.
Kyle
right?
Riker. Yeah, no, I don't believe so.
And that's the episode we get a little more dimension into Dr. Pulaski too, because Kyle Riker and she had some kind of liaison, like a romantic interest back in the day. So that was kind of a cool thing. That's the only thing I really remember about the episode.
And the fight.
Oh yeah, the that's right. What was that martial art called again?
I don't know, Japanese something.
Samurai.
Cool. Yeah.
It was cool though. And that reminds me, season 2 had a lot more holodeck gym type things going on. So this year Star Trek was basically subconsciously telling me I need to exercise more. So I do. I will exercise more now.
What about the Q episode?
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. We then next have Pen Pals, which if I recall, you did not like. that episode. That is a data-centric episode.
The data-centric episode.
Yeah, and but we did have a great discussion about the Prime Directive as a result of this episode, and I remember us thinking that the episode was a great illustration of like when do you what is the Prime Directive, what is its purpose, and like some of the consequences that result of not following its tenets.
Mm-hmm. The episode sucks.
What?
The episode sucks.
Overall, I think you did think it sucked. I don't know if I don't remember. I think I remember liking it. Then we have Q Who, where John. Wow. You're too
Data
excited.
just died. Yeah.
Sorry. So in Q Who, John Delancey reprises his role as the Q and flings the Enterprise thousands of light years into unknown territories, and the crew of the Enterprise encounter the Borg, and this is going to set off this episode is going to set off a huge story arc that continues all the way through Voyager. Do you recall, were the Borg ever a threat to Deep Space Nine?
Enterprise.
Well, yeah, but
no, because it's set up in the first original Deep Space Nine novel. Peter David comes up with a reason why the Borg never bug Deep Space Nine.
Do you remember?
Excellent. I don't remember the reason, but it's genius. Pure genius.
You got to look it up. Now you have to look it up. What is it?
I wrote it in the review many moons ago on the Milky Way Malt Shop in our review section,
which is lost.
Which is
hopefully it's bouncing off an asteroid and heading back to us as we speak.
Hopefully. Oh, excuse me.
Whoa.
This is past my bedtime, by the way.
Is the novel called The Siege?
Yes, it is.
So now I'm curious about this.
Yeah. But I think I just, in the review, I just make a mention of like, oh, and by the way, he comes up with a reason why the Borg never bothered Deep Space Nine. It's not a major thing it's not the major driving force of the plot. It's just something he throws in there that I thought was like pure genius. But of course, that's Peter David. Dude, don't waste. It's like it's a minor thing.
All right. You know, I gotta know.
Yeah, I know you gotta know. Maybe I'll reread the novel and I'll let you know.
You should definitely reread.
I actually should have that novel, and because I dog ear pages. So let me see if I can find it.
I expect you to come up with that.
All right, give me a while. Give me a bit.
So Q Who, awesome episode, iconic episode, a keystone episode, if you will. Very important to Star Trek. And yeah, Guinan. Yep, Guinan's featured in that episode. I think that's probably her largest screen time this season is in that episode, maybe. And then we, of course, again, Star Trek Generations is influenced by, so much is influenced by the kind of ideas that are set into motion by this episode. You can thank this episode for the Nexus, for for Elorians in general, and like the whole Borg thing. It's very, very cool. So we go from there to Samaritan Snare, the episode that deals with the Tweedledee, Tweedledum inspired aliens known as the Packleds, and where we get Geordi kidnapped, not for the first time in his life.
And not for the last.
And certainly not for the last time.
Terrible episode.
Then we have Up the Long Ladder, which I enjoyed, but also felt kind of embarrassed for because of all the stereotypes about Irish people in the episode. But yeah, it was a good episode, decent episode, funny episode, dealing with the clones. Then we have episode 19, which is Manhunt, and of course, you know that episode. We just released it today to the public. and that was with Troy's mother, Loxana Troy, basically going through menopause, and she's basically man crazy as a result of it. You don't have Loxana Troy?
No.
Do you have Nurse Chapel?
No.
Oh man, did they ever make figures for them?
Yes.
Oh, you should have them.
What am I gonna do with a Loxana Troy figure?
Well, she's going to be a recurring character, and you could set her up on your mic. I
Well,
remember
you buy
early.
her and you set her up on your mic.
I remember early in season, well, midway through season 1, and earlier on in this season, you said that I created this like eBay problem for you. Do you still have, do you still have the eBay problem?
Yes, I still have the eBay problem. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I'm buying more Star Trek figures now because of you.
Oy vey. Anyways, moving on, we then have the episode The Emissary, and going back to Susie Plaxon. This is her debut as, not her Star Trek debut, but her debut as the character of K'Ehleyr, who is going to be very important to Worf, who is already very important to Worf. And I think I thought this was a good episode. It was a pretty decent episode.
Yeah.
It had a lot of neat concepts in it, and a different side of Worf, a more sensitive side of him, and then also some exposure to Klingon values. And that was a fun episode to do of Starfleet Boy as well. And I'm sorry you weren't a part of that discussion.
That's fine.
It's okay. Then we have Peak Performance, in which the Enterprise is doing some combat simulations to help them hone their strategy skills, so that if the Borg do invade, they'll be more ready for that invasion. And it's a great Riker episode. It has a lot of cool moments that I think kind of echo the sort of like mischievous rogue qualities of the original crew in Stealing the Enterprise in Star Trek 3. There's some subterfuge going on under the nose of Captain Picard, and yeah, good episode overall.
It was.
Yep. It was fun seeing Data defeat the Zach Dorn character, who's really sort of narcissistic and egocentric. And then finally, we just talked about Shades of Grey, which I did not think was a very strong finale to season 2, but it had some great moments, as every episode undoubtedly does, and that was mainly in again Riker's performance. So that was it. And looking over at the ratings, the viewership for the season, it does in fact drop. Season 2 started out with about 10.9 million viewers. At its peak, it had 11.3 million viewers, and that's toward the middle of the season. And then it's kind of a steady decline, and this last episode had about 9.8 million viewers, and funny enough, Manhunt, the Loxana Troy episode, only had 8.9 million viewers. It was the lowest of the season,
deservedly so.
So that's it for our season 2 kind of episode by episode recap. So overall, what are your thoughts on the season, Doctor?
I think it's interesting to see who were the returning characters, guest stars rather, from the first season. Obviously, Q returned from the first season, and that I thought that was a great idea. He's obviously one of the most successful elements from the first season. Troy's mother, of course, returns. She has her fans.
Hmm.
and of course she will
I'm
continue to return.
I'm one of the fans.
I'm aware. I'm aware,
So
and
so Gary from Trek Enterprise is straight up in love.
mhm, yeah, absolutely, yes, yeah, and well, of course, being the wife of the executive producer of the show helps.
Right.
But no, but she's fun. And I thought it was interesting that, those two characters really are, those are pretty much the only two returning uh, characters from season one, if I'm not mistaken, like, beyond the regular crew, right? Am
Hmm.
I right in saying that? Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So, uh, I thought also that a lot of the, especially the early batch of aired episodes, were very data heavy. I think it's interesting that one of the things that the producers thought to expand on was data. There were quite a number of episodes that were data heavy, and either in terms of the A plot or just being inserted in, like, for example, I remember the season opener. Data is the one who is holding Troy's hand while she's giving birth to the amoeba baby, or
That's
whatever,
right.
that
I
space
forgot about
baby.
that. Yeah.
And it's interesting, and of course he's there because he's gonna be like, oh, childbirth, oh, blah 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 blah. And I think it was just sort of, okay, let's just insert data because everybody loves data. And sometimes it was not as organic to the storytelling as I think it should have, could have been. I think it should have been Riker, obviously. And it's interesting to contrast. You had the beginning of the season. Troy is the one who's in sick bay, and Riker is sort of aloof, and he's standing at the edge of the actual sick bay where she's in, and he's not, he's not going across to her and holding her hand. Data's the one who's holding her hand. He's kind of like keeping his distance, but he's obviously there because he cares, but he just can't quite, do it. And then juxtapose that with the end of the season where Riker is in sick bay and Troy is like, boom, right there over him, and probing his emotions and stuff. And I thought it was interesting. I don't think it was, obviously it was not intentional, but it's interesting to see that there's a interesting parallel between the opening of the season and the end of the season. And of course, being in sick bay, starting off in sick bay and ending in sick bay, you have Pulaski. And I think I already mentioned before, I thought she um, rose above the basic premise of the character. I think the when she engaged her curiosity about the other crew members. I remember especially with like Worf and the tea ceremony. And
Hmm.
that's not something I would imagine Dr. McCoy being interested in. Like she was a character who seemed to be very human, very she wanted to be involved with the crew. um and I think she really made a great impression on me this season. And it's a shame that she was never brought back as a guest star or anything like that, either on this show or subsequent shows. I think it would have been interesting to have seen Pulaski come back. Interestingly enough, something that did not seem to carry over from season one was Wesley saving the ship every episode, or the impression
Right.
thereof.
We didn't have so much of that in this season. They kind of like they're figuring out where Wesley kind of belongs a little more, I think.
And I thought it was curious. He lost. The mom is not there, so you would think that would open up possibilities for that character to grow, and maybe integrate better into the running of the ship without his mom being there. But in fact, the opposite happens. It seems like Wesley kind of fades into the background more. There's the episode that Dafoe, obviously, but there's the episode where he notices Worf is sad or something. But overall, the sense that you got in the first season that Wesley has this great destiny or whatever is sort of wiped aside in this season. And I don't know. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know. I'm not sure why that happened. I thought that was curious. And then the other thing I would mention is that the characters like Geordi and Worf don't get all that much to do, really. I know Worf has the episode, you were just talking about with Kalar, but other than that, I don't think. I mean, there were a few things for Worf to do, but Geordi and Worf really kind of fall on the bottom, I think, in terms of character exposure. What do you think?
I think I agree with you. Oh, and by the way, I skipped an episode when we were talking about The Measure of a Man, which is the best episode of the season. The Data on trial.
Data on trial. Once again, proving my point.
Proving your point, yeah.
Data is by far. I think if we had to give the season to anybody in terms of like who walked away with this season, it would have to be Data. And I think like in episodes like Measure of a Man, it certainly worked. I think in episodes like which is the other one? I'm drawing a blank.
There's Elementary, My Dear Data.
Elementary, My Dear Data.
Schizoid Man.
Actually, no. I was gonna say Peak Performance.
Oh, right.
I thought that was actually a very good Data episode in the sense that he had that. It had one of the great Picard
moments where he's
like, what the hell are you're a Starfleet officer, get off your ass, and
he does it again to Data. It kind of the
many times.
Yeah, and it's true, but the memory chip
in Generations, remember?
Yeah, he snaps them back. In that one. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. This season actually got 8 nominations for Emmys, and it won in 2 categories. It won for Outstanding Sound Editing for a series and Outstanding Sound Mixing for a drama series. That was for Q Who, which I have to now I have to watch it again to hear what the extraordinary sound mixing and
that net that Guinan fires. There's some great sounds coming out of the sparkly net that she shoots out.
I don't even remember that scene, but apparently, going back to Measure of a Man, Melinda Snodgrass, who she received the only nomination for the whole
series writing
at the Writers Guild of America. Yeah, and so
it's a great episode.
Yeah, so
the lawyer, the JAG, whatever that woman is, the one who who obviously had great familiarity with Picard from before. Never came back. She's another character who I was surprised.
Another lost character.
Why didn't she come back? I think season 2 had a lot of material that had material that that was pretty ripe for further exploration. I think we can obviously say that the biggest the most popular aspect of season 2 is the Borg, the introduction of the Borg.
Yeah.
And, we can't, no matter what you say about season 2, you can't take that away from it. That was the first time.
You can't take that away from me.
Thank you, sir. And again, another thing that would that would prove that would make further episodes is Kalar. You know, the mother to Worf's kid, and you know, so those two characters. I mean, well, the Borg as a collective, no pun intended, and Kalar are obviously two of the more popular things to come out of that season. And I guess, I mean, he did come back, but this guy Moriarty,
Right.
I think it was, and this is for legal reasons. I mean, it would have been interesting if he had kept coming back, maybe on a regular basis. I don't know, but I know that by the time he did return to the show, I thought it was like, well, that happened a really long time ago. It was like 5 years ago. I didn't. It didn't. I don't know.
I
I didn't
think
really care.
I think it was delightful when he came back because I don't think you should have spent I don't think the Sherlock Holmes thing was so cool that they could do one every season, like I don't know, but I think they did actually end up doing one every season.
No, they did not, as a
No,
matter of
you're
fact.
right. It's
Remember,
true. It's true.
because
They did.
legally they couldn't.
Did you
No,
know
but
that? Did you
yeah,
know that Diana Muldaur was credited as a special guest star in every episode throughout
every
season?
yes,
So that's interesting. Does that? What do you think? Do you think that is telling about their intentions with her? Do you think that maybe the producers and makers of the show decided maybe, oh, we'll see if we want her after season 2?
yeah.
So she was like a Christopher Eccleston of Star Trek.
Ooh,
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was
ooh.
I don't know where that came from. That was a little mouth
I
vomit.
don't know where
That was
that
like
came Don't get me started on Christopher
no,
frickin' Eccleston,
yeah,
okay?
let's move on. Let's
Don't get me
move.
started on that douchebag. Um,
Wow. so
no, go
I,
ahead.
I think something that we did, an exercise that we did in the previous season recap, was I want you to kind of give this episode a ranking among all the seasons. If you can take a moment to think about that for a moment for now.
This is one of the lower ranked seasons.
I would even say that perhaps season 2 is the lowest ranked season for me. I don't know. I feel like in my memory, Star Trek just gets better every season after this. So I don't know if that's the case. We'll see as we rewatch, but that's what I recall.
I mean, it has some classics. Obviously, Measure of a Man, the Borg episode. I forget what the name of it is. Q Who is it? Q Who?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think The Emissary is a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not without its classics. It's not without its episodes that made a huge impact on Star Trek continuity and history. I think it has a number of above average number of clunkers, but so do other seasons. And I think actually mathematically, by the numbers, since it has less episodes this season, I think it inevitably has to rank a little bit higher than some of the other seasons, because since it has less episodes, it has less clunkers.
No, I'm not gonna buy it because because next season is Ron D. Moore's first season too, and I think the show just goes into a new dimension.
You and I are gonna diverge a bit.
We'll see. We'll see how
I
what
know.
happens.
I'm sorry to tell you.
Is season 3 the last season of Gene Roddenberry? Don't we lose him next season as well? I think so. It'll be an interesting time to kind of see.
I don't know. He passed away right before Star Trek 6, but that's not till season 5, I think. Oh well, maybe.
No,
Yeah,
no. What year did
season 5? I would say is the two-parter with Spock, and
no?
then that's Star Trek 6.
I think Roddenberry passes away. Hold on. Oh, You're getting another subspace communication. Okay, so I don't recall. We'll figure all that out when we go into season 3, but I think it aired from 89 to 90. So you're probably right. Let's see what year Gene Roddenberry.
Great Bird of the Galaxy.
The Great Bird of the Galaxy. I've always loved that descriptor of him. Died in 1991, so he dies after season 3. So you're absolutely right. Anyways, going back to season 2, we're jumping a little ahead of ourselves. I'm gonna give it an overall rating. Now I think we're at that point in the episode. Unless there's anything else about season 2 you have to add.
You know what? No, I have nothing else to add. Yeah, you know what? Can I say one thing more?
Yes,
which
go
is
ahead.
I think it's notable to mention that of course, with the addition of Guinan, you had the addition of 10 Forward.
Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot about 10 Forward.
Which was a brand new set added to the Enterprise roster of sets, and I feel like we saw more of the this is getting really dorky, but we saw more of the rooms of the different characters. I mean, we saw I know we saw Worf's quarters.
We definitely get more dimension. I mean, we even have that meeting in Captain Picard's room, and I remember that was one of those, in Pen Pals, that was like pretty much the only kind of interesting thing was, again, the discussion about the Prime Directive, and I think we did see more. The show gets more and more intimate with our main characters as we progress along, and I think season 2 is definitely more intimate than season 1 for sure. I agree with you on that.
Well, but just in terms of the sets, I think we see more,
yeah,
of the Enterprise, and of course, 10 Forward becomes a standing set, and one that doesn't always have Guinan in it. So I think I always thought it was cool, the 10 Forward set. It was so large, and it gave it gave the Enterprise a sense of, there's all these people on board the ship. I mean, I think, typically, especially in especially in season 1, you had a lot of people kind of going back and forth in the background, some of them wearing skirts and stuff, and you're always like,
I love that though, actually.
Yeah, the skirts are gone, by the way, in this season.
No, I could have sworn there was I could have sworn. Well, the dress uniforms kind of harken to those.
But you don't see
bare legs anymore.
Not really. No. I don't think so. But I thought 10 Forward was a cool addition to the show, and of course it's a set that it was always fun to point out when they were redressing it in other situations. I think the most famous one was Star Trek VI, where the president, the president of the Federation, his office is clearly 10 Forward.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
that. And they're using the backdrop from "We'll Always Have Paris" in the back. I'm like, okay, they're just like mixing and matching. But the real Trek fans are like, oh, that's 10 Forward, man. You know?
It's true.
But 10 Forward is one of my favorite sets, and of course, first time we see it is in season 2, and I remember, you were saying in the last episode about how you were talking about how currently television has those specials that recap what's happened in the season prior. I remember, and especially for season 2, I remember that would have before the season would start, they would have a little special. Do you remember? They would have a sneak peek
Oh,
at the
yeah.
upcoming season, and they would cut into the commercial time of the repeat, and you would have that voice coming up in season 2 of Star Trek: The Next
Right. In
Generation.
a
We
lab.
welcome, yes, we welcome Whoopi Goldberg to Star Trek
Right, right.
as the new bartender Guinan, and so you would have like these little, you know, primers.
Was there a bar in the original series Enterprise ever? Do you remember? It was
There
just
was the
it was
lounge.
the mess hall, but I
There was the
remember
mess hall.
in Star Trek Beyond, it looks like they're in a bar. In that one scene where McCoy is giving Kirk his birthday drink, doesn't it look like they're at a bar of some kind?
It does look like they're at a bar,
Yeah.
but that could just be McCoy's quarters.
That's so true. Cheers. You have a singular wit, Doctor.
Thank you, thank you. So we've been okay. So rating season 2, I would give it a you know what? Believe it or not, I would give it a 5. I think it's average. I mean, in all honesty, it's an average season. It's not, you know, it has its classic episodes, but it has its share of clunkers. I don't think it was really that much better than season 1. I don't think it was worse than season 1. I think it pretty much just stayed the course. It was average.
I'm gonna say the same actually, but I'm gonna give it a 5.5 just to like
You always have to, right?
just because of the, you know, I gotta give it a little extra.
All right, hey, it's your show, man.
It's Starfleet boy, yeah.
Starfleet boy.
But no, with in all seriousness, yeah, I would say that it is a 5 or a 5.5, and you know, it was a fun season to watch, but the whole time I was really honestly, like, a lot of times I should say, wondering, all right, when is this over? I'm ready to get to season 3. So we made it. We covered another season on Starfleet Boy, and on that note, I'm so happy that you were able to join me for so many of the episode discussions this season, Doctor, and I look forward to getting together with you and all the people that have joined us, Mr. Sater, the Major, Trekker Prize, and of course Galdu Scott. I look forward to.
This all sounds like the cast from the Yellow Submarine.
It really does.
What?
We use handles on the show, you know, so
It should be our unofficial theme song is Yellow Submarine.
We all live in a yellow shuttlecraft, a yellow shuttlecraft, a yellow shuttlecraft.
Wow.
Someone's got to do a drawing of the yellow shuttlecraft. Speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed. I'm not sure you're on Twitter very often, but Starfleet Boy got a slight makeover. We have an official. For a long time, I was using my Twitter avatar and my YouTube. My Twitter avatar and my Instagram avatar were Spock, you know, doing the live long and prosper gesture. So I have recently upgraded that to an illustrated version of me, and I'm going to go ahead and
Really?
and show that to you right now here on the show. So there's the new.
Oh my gosh. Is that from the Jurassic Park meets Star Trek comic book you did so long ago?
Many years ago I did do that, but no, this is just an avatar of
You
me.
did this though.
I drew a little sketch of myself here.
Yeah.
Self-portrait. It's not a really accurate. It
looks like your work. I recognize it after all these years.
Excellent.
It's
And
uncanny. Wow.
yeah,
That's great.
I'm not the best artist, but I
No,
try.
you're great.
Thank you. So there's the new Starfleet boy avatar. I felt
Wearing your favorite uniform.
yeah, exactly. I felt after watching For the Love of Spock, I was like, I don't mind using his avatar, but I should do something original so that I'm not. I
That's
don't feel like
great.
yeah. So there you go. That's
Oh,
the new
you,
Starfleet boy
I want
avatar.
Emma to see that. You need to send it to me.
I'll
I'm
send it to you. Or
that's a,
she could watch this episode and she'll see it at the end of the
oh well, that's true. But this won't will go on for a
Oh
while.
yeah, that's true.
No, I'm just checking.
I'll send you an advanced link, okay? All right, well, so I think that was a great wrap up to our season 2 of both Starfleet Boy and of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And again, I look forward to seeing you. So live long and prosper, Doctor,
Live
and
long and
peace
prosper.
in our time. And I'll see you next time.
Season 3. Oh my
Season
God.
3. Ah!